The fleet of UFOs that landed in Giza, witnessed by the Pharaoh of Egypt at the time of the Exodus. One of the most interesting ancient texts is the Papyrus of Tali, and it narrates one of the first UFO sightings by a very credible witness, the Pharaoh of Egypt. This papyrus carries another interesting story behind it. In 1933, Alberto Tali, the director of the Department of Egyptology at the Vatican Museum in Italy, discovered a unique papyrus in one of Cairo's many antique shops. Unfortunately, its price was too high even for the Vatican, so Tali resorted to copying its content. Later, the papyrus traces were lost. 2 decades later, Italian-Egyptian Prince Boris de Ratchowitz announced that he had identified the original papyrus, quote, untranslated and unpublished, end quote. And according to Tully's plans, this is what the papyrus wrote. In year 22, in the 3rd month of winter, in the 6th hour of the day, 6th hour meaning noon, because the hour started at sunrise. The 6th hour of the day, between the Secretariat of the House of Life, it was found that a strange fiery disk was coming from heaven. It had no head, breathing out of its mouth, producing an unpleasant odor. Its body was like a rod, 172 feet or about 50 meters in length, and a rod in width. It had no voice, it had no sound. It came to the house of His Majesty, meaning to the palace of the Pharaoh. It came to the house of His Majesty. They were confused and fell on their belly. In other words, they fell to the floor. They went to the king to report it, and His Majesty ordered to consult the scrolls that were in the House of Life. His Majesty began to think of all these events that were going on. After several days, visits became more numerous in the sky than ever. They shone in the sky even more than the brightness of the sun, and expanded to the limits of the 4 pillars of the sky. The fiery discs had seized power. In other words, they were the overlords of Egypt. Now, the king's army, it says here, the king's army was looking at all this with His Majesty among them. The Pharaoh was among them. It was after the evening meal when the trays, when the discs, in other words, the craft, went up even higher into the sky to the south. Fish and other volatiles rained down from the sky, a phenomenon never known since the founding of the country. That is very strange. Fish and other volatiles. Okay, not volatiles. Fish and fish and birds and poultry. Fish and poultry rained down from the sky, a phenomenon never known since the founding of the country. This is just about what took place when the fowls were raining down from the sky. People ate them in the Exodus and they got sick, remember? Now it says here, and His Majesty, we're talking about the Pharaoh, made an incense to appease the heart of Amun-Ra, the god of the 2 kingdoms, and he commanded that the event should be recorded by His Majesty in the chronicles of the House of Life, to remember it forever. The papyrus Tali, the Pharaoh referred to as His Majesty, is Tutmosis III, and the whole incident is thought to have taken place sometime in the first years of his reign, around 1480 BC. This is at the time when the Hebrews made their exodus from Egypt. That's when it's estimated to have taken place, where before and during many supernatural things happened, but then they attributed them to God, it says here. However, the Tali Papyrus says that there was some kind of a spaceship landing, a UFO extraterrestrial landings. Now, it's interesting to note that there is no mention of any personal contact. It's just a sighting. It's not an encounter, one-to-one encounter. close contact of the third type, that is, and that this fiery disk badly messed with something that had to do with the toxic gases associated with the flight. It had terrible odor to it. Also, it's very important to note that as soon as these disks were taking off, rising back into the sky, it started to rain fish and poultry, and fish and fowl. In general, even today, there's a very special relationship of UFOs to lakes, rivers, and seas. It's been suggested that they collect energy from the water somehow. So were the disks using water as fuel or part of their propulsion? As we know, the Giza pyramids are on the River Nile in Cairo. Okay, the pyramids are right on the River Nile. So were they using water as fuel or part of their propulsion? Did they ever before visit the Pharaoh, gather water in their bellies with fish, and then other things from the Nile, which they spewed back out again as they were taking off, which fell onto the ground as they were taking off? Okay, I've translated this for you from Diadrastika. Please tell me what you think. This is very interesting. The Tully Papyrus, and the Pharaoh ordered that it would be recorded for all of the future to refer to. And he did call them the overlords of Egypt. Now we know that the Atlanteans had this type of technology, and air travel and space travel. They had spaceship. They had orbs that looked like light orbs, and they lived thousands of years. And as Manly P. Hall told us, it could be that these Atlanteans are alive even today with their technology, and could be what we're citing today when we cite these very unusual craft, these light orbs, these hypersonic craft that even our pilots are citing. And this is what has been explained by Thoth, or sometimes called Hermes Trismegistus, in the Emerald Tablets. He was an Atlantean, and he wrote the Emerald Tablets, and you can see, if you want to refer to what he wrote, in my playlist videos, Emerald Tablets. It's all recorded in there, fascinating stuff. And the reasons why Atlantis was destroyed: they were so haughty and dangerous to the whole world and humanity that it was a divine intervention, obviously. And that, however, there were Atlanteans that escaped and established new cities worldwide, and the first things that they built were pyramids. Now, Thoth the Atlantean said that he has buried his spacecraft under a sphinx in a plateau of pyramids. He's credited with building the Giza pyramids. And it may be that his spacecraft is, I don't know, is it under the Great Sphinx in Giza, or is it some other sphinx that we have not yet discovered in Egypt? We have no idea. Anyway, please tell me what you think. I think this is fascinating. And one of the very credible records of someone, king of Egypt, Pharaoh, having the sighting of these fleets of UFOs repeatedly coming over, and somehow doing something with water and spewing out the fish and the fowl. Tell me what you think. Thank you for your support. Please ring the bell for more videos, subscribe, and share. Take care of each other and be very careful. Thank you so much. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.